Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My sincere thanks to all of you. I first have to certainly always start by thanking my pastor, Pastor Peter Rustico, for being here, and all the folks that you see here on stage that made today possible, and certainly the folks in the audience. I look especially to my new partners in Albany, Assemblyman Colin Schmidt and Assemblyman Carl Brabenec, and so many others who I've met just in the last 2 weeks, some of whom are members of our party and some of whom are not. But I look forward to getting started, and I thank them for being so gracious to me and welcoming me to Albany, because really, although we've got some political differences in Albany, that's no secret, I've been so blessed to be welcomed by so many great people there, not just these two gentlemen in the room, but so many others. I also want to thank all of you, my family and friends. Certainly my wife Erin, I always joke, who has perfect judgment in everything but men. And my whole family who has been behind me this entire time, my friends, so many of you who are at home live streaming. Obviously with all that's going on this year, it's so limited the number of people that we're able to have here, but we were solidly committed to making sure that we didn't lose this event, because there have been so many lost events this year, and I do think it's important to pause and recognize when we're able to in a way that's safe. And finally, just my thanks to so many people who have helped bring me to this moment. All of you have been tremendously supportive. I think back to over a year ago when I first said I wanted to run. I sat with my friends Carl Brabenec and Colin Schmidt and most of the folks that are up here on the stage, and everyone told me to go for it. And then I sat with my father, who told me don't do it. But even though I didn't follow his advice, he was behind me all the way. So for those of you that encouraged me to do this, or maybe did in the beginning, I thank you for your support, because all of you were a piece of me getting here today. And I think when I look back at the last year, it was certainly a long path to this accomplishment. As Kelly said, we sat together 1 year to the day in a warehouse in New Hampton where I announced that I was going to run for state senate. And as Steve said, it was kind of right before the world came to a total end, because we had 300 people in the room. It was a very different event than the event was today. But I look back at that moment, and I think about all the new friends that I've made over the last year, all of the new connections that I've made over the last year. So while there are a lot of things that we're very thankful for in terms of putting 2020 in our rearview mirror, I look at some of those bright spots of 2020 and know that it's definitely a year that shaped my life in a very big way. I said before that everyone on this stage and so many of you encouraged me to run. And when I think back to that encouragement, what I know is that I probably wouldn't have run if more of you told me not to. And I joked that my father told me not to. He told me not to, and then I got him on board quickly. But if more people told me not to run, I probably wouldn't have. And I think when you think about politics today, it really speaks to something. I think it tells you that politics today, while tremendously divisive, is really and needs to be about public service and not self-service. The reasons I entered this race were pretty simple. I'm a business owner here, I'm a father, and I looked at things like bail reform that Sheriff Schiff and Sheriff Du Bois have talked about. I look at our high taxes, which has been an absolute crusade for many years of Carl Brabenec and Colin Schmidt. I look at our small businesses that are suffering. And as a small business owner, I had a front row seat to every single thing that our businesses struggle with. And finally, our farmers, who've always had it tough, but now have it really tough because of bad policy from Albany. What I also know is that it's really easy to complain from the dinner table about everything that's wrong. It feels good to go on Facebook and pontificate. It's great to hear people tell you how good you are when you have those people that are online supporting you in the virtual world. But what's hard is putting yourself out there. What's hard is knocking on thousands of doors. What's hard is taking your personal resources and putting them behind a cause. What's hard is devoting your time and energy to an effort. And what's hard is taking time away from your family to decide to serve your community. And when I look around this room at the many, many people in this room who are elected, probably 3/4 of you, which by the way is the reason we didn't do the typical roll call, because as all of you know that at political events that's very painful, and it would have involved almost all of you. So my apologies for not doing the roll call, but you'll understand why. Many of you have been in this seat and you understand. It's not easy to take the slings and the arrows from the media, from the internet trolls, and the political operatives, but there's a reason we do it. I think about a Rodney Dangerfield quote when he said, "We don't get a lot of respect, right? But what we do is we make a difference." So I applaud anyone, Democrat or Republican, regardless of what your political orientation is, anyone who puts themselves out there and decides to take that on. Personally, I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be successful in business. I have so many friends. I have a beautiful family. And the reason I ran for office and what I'm looking to do in Albany is not to be someone, but rather to do something. I enter this role with a servant's heart and a deep sense of responsibility. Just a quick story. When I run into people and they find out that I was a business owner and now I ran for office, one of the things I get a lot is people say, "Isn't it great never really having a boss?" Right? If you own your own company, you don't have a boss, and now it's great because you don't have a boss. And I would tell you that something that I had understood even in my 20s was that as a business owner, I had basically 600 bosses, and these were the people that worked for me. And what I understood was this deep sense of responsibility, how important it is that when you're someone who's been blessed to be a leader, how important it is to be there to support and to help the people who've chosen you to lead. I never took lightly my responsibility to make sure that 600 families counted on me to put food on the table. I never took lightly the responsibility that 600 families counted on me to make sure that Christmas was under the tree. Because if I didn't do my job and I didn't do things right, it meant that it was going to affect many more people. I look forward to bringing that experience to Albany because what I know is that in Albany, there are not a lot of people who've spent time signing the front of checks and a whole lot of people that have spent time signing the back. And ultimately what I know is that we're in this together. So I enter this new phase of my life and this new professional opportunity willing to work with anyone who has a true heart and who's here to help serve, especially in this very difficult time. And I know Steve talked a little bit about it, but for the future, I hold a tremendous amount of optimism. Because above all, what I am confident in is the goodness of our people and the hope that exists in our future. I do this being completely resolute about the challenges that lie ahead, because together, what I know is that we can take a step away from the very divisive political tone of the moment and take steps forward so that we can work together and overcome tremendous challenges and affect great change. So, to the many folks that are watching online and will watch this later, I wish you could have been here with us. It was a great day. And to the folks that are here in this room, I thank you so much for carving out some time in your Saturday morning to spend with me, to take a moment to celebrate what we've all accomplished together. I can't thank you enough, because as I look around this room and I think of the people that are online, there really isn't one of you who isn't worthy of an individual shout out for what you've done to help me be here. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all of your efforts, and may God continue to bless you in our great country.